All right, hi guys. I'm Riley Sugars. This is Nick Jaquinot. This is David Ward, and we're here. We're about to fly out to Fantasporto Film Festival in Portugal. Um, I'm recording this because I just wanted to keep it for posterity reasons. While David has a lovely birthday drink, um, but, so this is its European premiere, and we are also meeting the other lead actress of the film, Ruby Duncan, when we get there. But yeah, this has been a long time in the making. Nick, when did David come to you with the project?
Um, if I remember correctly, we were at a really strange bar on Chapel Street. That one that's around the corner from where the Capital or whatever it's called was being built. Two wrongs.
Yes, you're
And
right.
we were working on a short film together that never ended up happening. But David had just directed me in a play just a few months ago that had wrapped up, and he just said like, "Hey, I've got this sort of other play that I'm working on. It's about half finished. You want to have a read of it?" And that play eventually developed over years into the film.
Awesome. And that was what period of
Oh,
time?
sorry,
Was that?
that was 20 end of 2015, start of 2016.
That long ago.
Yeah.
So that where it started 2026. So that's 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
You can flash on the screen. My God, they're old.
My God, they're old. I mean, yeah, David. You've been working on this it was originally a play.
Yep.
And then it decided it wasn't a play and it became something else. What was that journey like? And then from that to getting the film actually made.
Yeah. So, as Nick was saying, we had just worked on something together. We'd worked on another independent theatre production together, and I was working with a group of collaborators at a company that doesn't exist anymore. It used to be called Spark Production Company, but I was tasked with writing a very, very loose Edgar Allan Poe adaptation. And we were actually just saying earlier, like the parameters in which we would have had to have tried to do that stage play would have just been impossible, and it just wouldn't have been feasible to do as a stage play on a Melbourne independent theatre budget. So the project got shelved, and that ended up happening around 2017, and the company disbanded. And so I was kind of left with this script that I was really fond of, but I definitely felt like it needed work, and I needed help pushing it along. So I kind of chipped away at it for a little while in the intervening years between, let's say, 2018 and the pandemic, which gets to the next part of your question. So I just chipped away at it on my own. Being a stage play already, it was pretty conducive to becoming a film. I mean, plays tend to make good films a lot of the time. But in this case especially, and it was really it seemed pretty ideal for a first feature because it's so self-contained, it's so stripped down. And it also seemed really doable on very little resources.
Yeah.
So, and then the pandemic happened, and I was left unemployed, as most creatives were. And I just went, to hell with it. I'm never going to get this amount of free time ever again. I called on my dear friend Josie, who I have collaborated with in the past. They came on board and helped me finish off the screenplay. Meanwhile, in the background, I was spending most days of the pandemic on the phone to venture capitalists, investors, just anybody who had disposable income in the midst of a pandemic that might be interested in an arts project. And to my amazement and surprise, I managed to find a pool of investors who threw together enough money to go into principal photography. And as you guys know, that happened in 2023. So
Yeah.
big gestation period
But it wasn't the first time that you'd attempt to get the film up? Like you tried a few times in the previous years.
Oh yeah, of course. So
It was. We thought we were going to. We'll share it. If I remember correctly, there was one time before the pandemic when we thought maybe.
yeah,
I think
maybe.
because I was officially given the role of Max. I think it would have been about 20. I want to say 2017, 2018,
Around then, probably.
when things started getting a bit more serious.
Mm.
And then there was an almost we're going. I think the pandemic happened. We tried to push through into it because that initial period of the pandemic, at least in Melbourne, was we don't know, but mask up a bit, I guess. And then the curfew started happening, lockdown started happening, and then I think it was like almost like another every year. So for like the next couple of years, we're sort of like we're going to go in June. The location fell through. We couldn't get enough crew in time.
Talent would fall through.
Something would happen.
Which is pretty. I mean, that's pretty typical of most films, especially films that are happening on like really sort of small budgets, like this one is. It's and fair enough as well. There's good reason for it. Like, we all freelance to a certain extent in this industry, and it's really hard, and it's an awkward position to be in, to ask people to come and basically volunteer their services. These people who deserve to be, making absolute bank off of their ability, and so to ask them to sort of capitulate on that a little bit is certainly uncomfortable. But you just pick people who are conducive to it, and I guess it just took us a while to find the right group of people. And we were talking just not that long ago about when we all wrapped the film, and I think I said something at the wrap event. I think I said something at the wrap drinks where like. This film could have only happened here and now with this group of people. And I really do believe that to be true. I don't think the film could have happened under any conditions other than the ones we eventually went with.
I agree. And I came onto this project very late. I was just initially supposed to be the assistant director, started production, and then my role shifted a little bit and became a producer. And I agree with that statement because what this project was, we were shooting a small contained film, but it was in the dead of winter in a very cold studio.
Very
cold.
Some of us
weren't wearing
shoes or socks.
Yep. But it's
and had no hair.
Yeah, had no hair. Yeah, that's going to follow up to a question I'm about to ask. But like,
I'm jumping ahead.
But we had a really pleasant and beautiful, cohesive team. That's really rare. Like on a film, it's sometimes one person throws off the complete dynamic of a group. But talking of like that, what you just mentioned, this film, your character, it's not very much close to what I'd call you as a person, Nick. Like you've got to play.
Thank God.
Thank you.
Sure hope not.
But you've got to play something that's a little bit far removed from you as a person. You've got to play something that it's very inward. It's very, you physically are different. Like I remember you on the set, you were eating apples and you were very gaunt and you were thin and you were.
Those apples are a luxury too.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do that, by the way. I didn't ask him to do that.
No, I would never put that on you at all. In fact,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I remember coming to you and saying like, I think this is the guy, and I think it's gonna take some pain to get to him physically. Like I'm gonna have to drop some weight. Like for those who haven't seen the film, I shaved my head. I think by the time the film, we're announcing weights here on live TV. I walk around at like 74, 75 kilos. By the time I had started, I weighed about that when we started to sort of, the final 3 months before we got into production, when we knew it was happening. I started dropping weight, and I think by the end of the shoot, I weighed myself, and I was down to about, I think, 65 kilos. So I dropped about 9 or 10 kilos.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, the one thing is you never know as an actor, like, how many movies are you actually going to get to make during your lifetime. There's a finite amount. You got to be careful about which ones you pick and how much of yourself you give to the ones you do pick.
And I mean, not to speak over the top of you, but I agree, because this is the first time you've really had a leading role in a feature film.
Yeah, like I've done leads in shorts and indie theater and stuff like that. I'd had some supporting roles in other micro budget features. But this was like the meaty role that I had literally been eyeing and or attached to for, like, as we were saying before, like nearly a decade.
7-8 years.
Yeah, I think 8 years by the time we started rolling.
Yeah.
So I had already done, and because of all the false starts, I'm a very process-driven actor. Like, I can't rock up on set and just like wing it and find magic in the winging of it. I was, because I got more of a theatre background, like I was doing rehearsals and I was rehearsing on my own and constructing elements of the character that would be supported by the script. And you and I sort of did some of that while the script was being developed as well. So by the time we got to it, like I'd already done all this work. I'm like, well, let's just absolutely kind of put the cherry on top of it. Let's make sure he physically appears the way that he should and would. And I think the film bears out that even though that was a very difficult process, it was the right decision to make.
And I totally agree, because like I came in at a very late point, and I feel very much like I witnessed, I read the script 7 days before we shot this, you know what I mean? Like, exactly. So I came in very like with just no baggage to this project whatsoever. And then seeing you translate that on screen was very interesting, because it's like, all right, I can see what this person is. Now I'm seeing someone who I knew very briefly beforehand, not really. And I'm seeing you very much commit to what this is. Was really interesting, because you were very solemn, and it was hard to crack a smile out of you, but no, it wasn't. But you were taking this incredibly seriously, and I think that's great. And I'm sure that was great for you to witness, because absolutely. It's like, all right, I have picked the right person for this.
Completely. And I should also say something I wanted to add to what you were just saying is I cannot begin to say just how big a benefit it is to know your man, so to speak, that far away from production. And to have conversations with you, and also to have concurrent conversations with Josie. And I think it's not to sound immodest, but I think one of the reasons why Max comes out looking and feeling as like kind of terrifyingly real as he does, in spite of the fact that there are operatic elements, it's a heightened performance. But you completely believe that man, and you believe that he's a real person. And I think that's a direct, I think, and for me at least, I can draw a direct line back from those initial conversations that we had to where we ended up, and go, yes, in other words, it's kind of inevitable that we were going to end up with the Max that we ended up with. I feel
so much prep.
Yeah, exactly. So much. Like,
what I was going to say was, all right, so like we did production, and it was a hard production, but it was a very enjoyable production. I
had a ball.
Yeah.
I said I think I said in another interview at some state. Thank you. Sorry. I think I said in an interview at some stage that like I was, and of course I would. I'm the director, and like this is a baby that I've been trying to make happen for a long time. But gee whiz, I just came to set every day like so excited and so ready to get going. And I got that feeling from everyone.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the time as a professional on a film set, you are punching in and punching out. Like, this.
Yeah.
And I never got that vibe. I never got that sense that it felt like an
Task or it's hard.
yes.
I mean, I think that's because people were invested because that's just a nice dude. Like, and I think patience is the thing that I really want to, because, this film we've wrapped mid 2023, and the patience of it in the post is probably the biggest thing I want to ask.
Right.
It's like, it took a year basically to get it to almost picture lock, and then another year's worth of efforts to get all the post elements, the color, the sound, and then at least 8 months, 9 months to just start business deals, start festival conversations, and then we're now finally getting to the point where it's going to be seen.
Yeah.
Like, how does it feel? It's obviously a long journey from it wrapping to us being here. It's 2.5 years plus. How does that feel now that you know that you're going to sit, like in a few days, we're going to sit with an audience and have people see this? How does that feel?
Gratifying is the main thing. Gratifying and incredibly humbling. You okay?
Yeah.
You good?
Just sitting on the bar.
Can I get you anything?
Yeah.
Another beer.
Excuse me. Gratifying is the main thing. It's because it's so interesting. It so doesn't feel like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It doesn't for me anyway.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I say this a lot. I've been in the submarine with it for a long time now, and when you're underwater, it doesn't feel like you kind of lose perception of time.
Yeah.
And so, but also, the other thing that's worth pointing out, we don't have to include this, but it is worth pointing out that I work full time. Like I have a job that I go to 4 or 5 days a week and do 9 to 5. And so my life was doing that 4 days a week, and my job is filmmaking, my actual professional squeeze. And then I would come home and I'd just keep editing.
Yeah.
And just keep going and keep going and keep going. And it actually, to the point where it became a pleasure. Because it was like, oh, thank God I get to get back into this world.
That's so lucky because,
again.
Like, I'd say, we talked about this just colloquially between ourselves. There's a lot of films like of this sort of budget level, they just are on hard drives, and they just don't really. They might get finished, but they just don't go anywhere. And it's nice to, you're very persistent, which is great. And myself and some of the other producers have just sort of like at times we've sort of been focused on other things, but it's always been very that you're always going to keep chipping away.
Totally, yeah. And I had to do that for myself, because I'm not. It would be too devastating to just leave it unfinished and to not get it over the line. That would be more painful than. That's infinitely more painful than the pain of sitting there with it night after night after night, scrutinizing it, having really tough conversations with myself about it's not working, but persisting through them, and having enough. This borders somewhat on advice, but having enough foresight to know that this will be worth it, and that that the endeavor is actually. It will pay off. It will pay off exactly how it's meant to. And I guess, as a sort of closing thought from me at least, it just. I mean, my hopes for this film were very, very, like, small, like bordering on like quaint, and at every stage, we just keep exceeding and exceeding and exceeding what I expected us to do. Like, we're about to get on a plane to Portugal and watch our film play at one of the most prestigious genre film festivals in Europe, let alone the world. Like, I didn't see that coming. I so didn't see that coming. I didn't see good reviews coming. I didn't see any of it coming. And so every stage of this has just been one like really nice, beautiful surprise after another. And I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, I'm the same. And I mean, like, Nick, how do you feel about, you nervous at all about people seeing the performance, seeing the work?
Not really. I mean, from the theatre background, I've been in far more vulnerable positions.
Yes.
And I've seen you in far more vulnerable positions.
Full kit.
Yes.
Hundreds of people, thousands of people within this country have seen my full kit.
Yeah.
Over the course of three seasons of a particular play. So not really. I mean, I'm tossing up in my head whether or not to pull an Adam Driver and sort of, because I've now seen the film so many times, to kind of just see the early seconds of it, look at the crowd, be like, this is nice, and then sort of just come back from the bar when everything is done.
That's not actually the best idea.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I'll just, unlike how I performed as Max, I might just have to wing it and figure it out on the day. But no, nerves, not a thing. The film is made, my job is done, and that was me from nearly 3 years ago. So,
Exactly.
you know.
I mean, great. Thanks for. I just wanted to ask these questions. So
No worries, right?
that'll be fun.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, David.
Happy birthday.
I'm Max.
I'm a filmmaker.
It is a tribute.
Brand Christmas breakfast.
Just moved in, have you?
Yes.
How long ago?
Not long. You on your own? Yes.
Hi everyone. I don't even know where to start.
She's an artist, a revolutionary, a goddess.
We have to talk about the internet's most dangerous artist, Lenore.
I bore myself and my soul, and the world didn't end for a while.
You know what happened, don't you? She's gone, Maxie. No. Feel it, own it.
Flesh and blood and bone.
You can't feel it. You can't see it. You can't touch it. This is one of the most unforgivable things that I have ever seen.
You really think you're special, don't you?
Do it. Shut up! No! Don't you touch us!
You may have once known me as Lenore, but she shall be lifted, nevermore.